Scrum Talks is a space to promote Scrum knowledge worldwide by learning from the experience of Scrum experts in our community. Hi, I'm Gina Gilling. The Scrum Guide 2020 defines Scrum as a lightweight framework that helps people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. As a certification body, we constantly receive feedback and questions regarding Scrum. And for that reason, we created Scrum Talks. We're going to be using this space to cover all sorts of Scrum topics by interviewing experts on the matter. And today we have the pleasure of talking to Omar Gonzalez. He is a Scrum Master and a Senior Product Owner at Confense. Hi, Omar. Welcome to Scrum Talks.
Finding yourself. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here with us. Omar, can you start by introducing yourself?
I've been in IT for the past 15 years. I actually started as a developer myself, and then have an eclectic background in different positions, systems analysis, business analysis, QA, and then my beautiful world of Agile, which I've been practicing for the past 6 years now.
Thank you so much, Omar. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Based on that experience that you just mentioned, how do you define Scrum and why do you think it's so important?
Scrum is a different way of working. It is something that broke the mold almost 30 years ago. Now, it is different in the sense that you don't follow a waterfall from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. It involves a small team in which you are having constant collaboration, and the goal, as you mentioned earlier, it's making sure you deliver value, but not only that you're delivering value, but you're building the right thing. Because you can build anything, but the key is, will that thing deliver value? And will that thing really make sense when it's in the hands of a user?
Thank you so much, Omar. I love that, especially because what we were mentioning at the beginning, that we have to deliver that value. Is just not to use it in any project per se. It's just we have to take into account that we have to be delivering value all the time. So how do you usually use Scrum? In projects or for product development?
All of the, at least from the beginning of my experience, it all has been in product development. Now, my first product itself, it was born as a project, and it changed from consultants' hands, and these consultants brought Scrum. And that's how I started seeing Scrum from a project now into more of a product-based area.
And do you like any of the, do you have a preference for any of it? Or do you, like, if you say, okay, I'm going to be using it for a product, say, okay, no, because I'm using it for a product, I'm going to use something else? Or do you like it more for project development?
I'm open to seeing what works best. Now, Scrum is a highly used framework. It is not the only one, and it depends on the complexity of the problem that you're trying to solve. For most implementations, I would say I would go with Scrum. I have to admit, I am a little bit of a Kanban fan, and there have been implementations in which I've used Kanban, and others where I've used the combination of both, going for Scrumban, which is a very interesting combination, but nonetheless, still based very highly on Scrum principles.
Thank you so much. And I love that you just mentioned that, because I was going to say that you have many certifications. I was stalking you online and I see you have Kanban, Agile Coach, Scrum Master, user stories, even like other technologies such as blockchain, cybersecurity. So how do you use Scrum? As the official guide recommends it, or do you complement it with other practices? And if you do, how do you do it?
Well, right now with the teams I'm working with, we do use what the guide says, but for development purposes. Before development, that is the interesting part there, because we need to make sure that we obtain what is known as shared understanding. So what the product owner's vision, in this case mine, I need to make sure that the team understands what they're building, why are they building it, and what problems are we looking to solve. Not only what problems are we looking to solve, what information do we need? And sometimes you can use user story mapping, which helps people understand how a system is supposed to flow. It also allows you to set or even define your MVP. You can use different ideas. There's another concept which is called the sprint. Very interesting book by Jack Knapp, which is a process that you can do before you actually start developing, just to make sure that you are testing your hypothesis before you actually invest. So on the development side, yes, we're using Scrum right now, like the guide suggests. But what comes before it, it's a plethora of different options.
Thank you so much. And do you actually only complement it with Kanban, or and user stories, or have you used any other tools or frameworks with Scrum?
Right now, we're starting to implement one of the Scrum frameworks, which is the Scaled Agile framework. We're trying to do it at a smaller scale to test our hypothesis to see if that is actually the best way for us to right now implement product management within our corporation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So Omar, you mentioned at the beginning that you have 15 years of experience in IT. So can you provide, and I believe like 5 years in the agile world, right?
6 years, but yeah.
6, okay, yeah. So can you provide an example of a problem that you have encountered in the past that you could only solve it using Scrum principles, and how?
I'm actually going to change that question a bit. I've encountered situations in which not using Scrum principles have led to really time wasting and not building the right thing. One example I can give you is one of the first products that I was helped building. It didn't take into account at all user feedback. There wasn't collaboration. We had stakeholders who had an idea, we want to build this, but there was no customer feedback. Unfortunately, I got the customer feedback not in a very good condition, because I was seeing my doctor when I was being diagnosed with the flu, and he was using the product that we built. And I'm like, I was curious, even though I was with 102 fever at that moment, but I had to ask, like, do you like the product? Does it work for you? And the feedback was not great. The feedback was not great. We had built a product that if we had used the Scrum principles, it would be something that doctor could have told me that is exactly what we wanted, or this provides the functionality that we wanted. So I've seen that Scrum, and this has been said a lot in many places, Scrum does not solve everything. It uncovers your problems. And that's what teams and people have to take into account. Scrum is great. It is not the silver bullet. It won't solve everything. But if you want to go Scrum, be prepared to uncover problems and looking for ways to how to solve them.
I love that. I think that should become like a quote, because I love that so much. But why do you think that Scrum is still so relevant and continues to grow after so many years?
It has proven its value. It really has proven its value. Companies have implemented Scrum not because they think it's just okay. It's because they know it can give them an edge. And in this era where competition is fierce and you want to get to the market first, that's where Scrum comes in. And CertiProf, like you mentioned, is a certification entity, and we have multiple entities who also certify in Scrum within their various methods. But at heart, they're taking into account the Scrum Guide. They have their flavor here or their spark there, but they're all implementing Scrum in one way or another. So it has proven its value. And if you look at statistics on adoption and how many people still are using or how many companies are actually implementing Scrum, then you know it has some value there. The question is how well you implement it and who do you look for to implement that with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So now, after all this knowledge that you have given us, let's explain the community how you started using Scrum and what recommendations can you provide to those beginning this learning path?
I started Scrum looking at a video in YouTube, and this was, hey, if it's not on YouTube, it doesn't exist.
I know.
So I saw a video on YouTube. I got curious. I started searching online. I took my first Scrum Master certification ever. And from that point on, I kept on moving and did certified in other, like you mentioned, I have various certifications, but the certifications, like you said, in theory are not enough. You need to have people to coach you, to really guide you and listen to them and learn from their mistakes. If certifications are expensive, and I know they are, or they can tend to be, there's tons of books of Amazon. One book that I would recommend to anybody, and this is from Fabian Schwartz, your Scrum Playbook. It's not poker, it's poker, not chess. A great book that can give you a great, strong introduction to Scrum and would even talk about certain difficulties that you may face. But if you have the ability to take certifications, do so. Please go to meetups. Please have sessions like CertiProf is doing with me now, and get in those discussions. Put yourself out there and learn from the experts, because it's the only way you can improve, and what you improve will, in essence, not only help you as a person if you implement agility on a personal scale, but it will also benefit the companies or corporations you work with, because you're taking that knowledge to them as well.
Thank you so much, Omar, and thank you for all the knowledge that you have provided us and to our community of lifelong learners. Omar, where can we find you online if we want to know more about you?
Well, this is really very easy. It's one-stop shop. You can look me up at within LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Jorge Omar Gonzales, and you should be able to find me there. You can send me a message. I normally respond very quickly, and I hope I can be of service to anyone.
Thank you so much, Omar, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon here.
Thank you for having me, and hope to be back.
Bye-bye. We thank those who choose to be here, and we hope this space has been an inspiration to promote the professional growth of our community. If you want to know more about our certifications, visit us at CertiProf.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as CertiProf. Let us know in the comments below what other topics you would like us to discuss. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to know about our upcoming episodes. See you in the next episode.